What is going on, everybody? I'm super excited to be back here with you guys today. It's been a good month of trading for myself and the community. We've seen a lot of nice setups coming through. Definitely seen a lot more sort of stability in the market, and this is kind of where our model that I trade really thrives. So yeah, I'm excited to kind of walk you through a little bit today about how my strategy works, how it kind of goes out and plays out on a day-to-day basis, and I'm also going to show you how I applied the same principles that I'm going to show you today and made $5,000 trading on Friday. And that wasn't just with me, it was also with the community as well. And I'm going to show you, I want to break that down for you. So let's dive right into it and let's get started. So if you have a look over here, now I've kind of tried to break this down really simple. So this is how I trade. I trade a mechanical, systematic approach. Same thing every single day. I look for the same sort of market setups. I apply the same principles over and over again. It's the only way to really consistently track your probabilities, get a good understanding of your data, backtest your data, and really understand where you have an edge in the market, right? And for me personally, I find this is a great starting point. This is the basis of what you actually need, right? And yeah, I'm going to break down how my mechanical PDX model will solve all of your trading issues. Trust me. We've seen that with the community. I've seen that with my own results. And yeah, I'm going to break down a couple of things and why I believe truly this is actually the way to trade going forward, right? So if I had to break down the mechanical PDX model into three sort of simple points for you, it's a defined edge that allows you to consistently play the probability game. Now we are playing in the stock market. In this instance, I trade Forex, I trade Euro Dollar a lot, pretty much every single day. And here we're obviously looking to capitalize on the probability and the statistics around the market theory, right? And with that being said, that allows you to have predictable distribution of returns, which allows for consistent results, right? Now, the mechanical PDX model is a clear rule-based system for systematic entries, right? Which is basically what I was telling you earlier. It's the same thing over and over again that you can apply day in and day out without even opening your eyes. You can wake up in the morning. Sometimes it's as easy from my bed, to be entirely honest with you, that I can literally see what I'm looking for, and within 5 minutes, I know if I'm going to get a trade or not, right? And I just want to show you a quick little example of this is how I use my PDX model. This was the trade setup that I took on Friday. Really simple, really systematic, really pretty much the easiest way to kind of break down how you can actually capitalize trading setups, especially from what I've found in the markets of recent, right? So here's a nice little image of how my model looks like. I'm going to break this down for you in a lot more detail in the next couple of minutes. And you can see here, here's the execution that I took on the M15, and you can also see here my profit that I made, which was just under $5,000. And I think, yeah, really important to kind of show some sort of transparency of me actually executing this trade, which I do live in front of the community on a daily basis. And here's a bit of the results sort of snippets, right? Now, you might be thinking, what is systematic trading? What is a mechanical edge? What is this PDX model that you're speaking about? What it basically entails is I'm trying to differentiate how I trade versus how you trade, right? How you are probably trading today, and this might resonate with you because it resonated with me when I also initially started trading. I went down the same sort of path that you probably found yourself in now. It involved a lot of discretionary trading. It involved using multiple trading indicators. Every week I thought I needed a new indicator to kind of, find some sort of a secret source and the hidden edge that just is apparently, yeah, comes with all these imaginary and awesome indicators that you can add. And let's be entirely honest right now, that doesn't work, right? So if I had to break it down in sort of 5 easy points in terms of how I think you are probably trading right now, especially if you're struggling to find consistency in the market, using multiple trading indicators, you have a multiple trading checklist criteria, which basically means you're probably sitting there trying to find all these different check boxes, right? And then you probably find yourself entering into the trade and not really understanding why you actually entered in the trade in the first place and why the trade maybe went against you, right? So if you take a loss, then it's confusing. I followed the checklist. I don't understand. I have all these points marked out. I followed my plan. Da 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 da. And then yeah, a loss comes about, right? And the thing is, you might just be in your probability game, where for example, you are on a 3 or 4 or 5 trading a losing streak. But the thing is, you're not letting your probabilities play out, right? So you are trying to strategy hop on the third or the fourth loss, and you're not letting your edge play out because you don't have a systematic mechanical model probably, that you can apply over and over again and use on a daily basis, right? Now, that obviously leads to a couple of things. It basically leads, in my opinion, to the inability to forecast market movements. It's very difficult to collect and actually backtest discretionary models, especially when it comes to trying to understand whether you even have an edge in the market at all, and whether your edge is actually profitable over the longer period, right? And all of these things, in my opinion, if you couple them all together, definitely it leads to some sort of emotional revenge trading, because you feel that, for example, you're going to apply some new sort of tweak to the model, or you're going to add some little discretionary element that might just make it a little bit more effective today, and then you find yourself taking another loss because now you've changed the edge, right? You're changing your edge consistently. You're not applying the same thing over and over again, which is really difficult, in my opinion, to actually find any consistency, right? And I've kind of summarized it into a couple of points here, right? So, for example, I've basically written here for you, all of this coupled together leads to you not understanding price action movements effectively, and that actually hinders you and holds you back from actually being able to execute effortlessly in a sort of consistent manner, right? And I like to think of something really simple. It's called KISS, right? Keep it simple, stupid. And I want to break that down for you a little bit more now. I'm going to show you how you can execute my model on a daily basis the same way I do, right? I look at two things. One, high time frame bias. Am I in a valid area of interest, which I kind of define as either supply or demand? It could be a little bit more technical from a displacement, BPR, whatever it may be. And then secondly, I then couple this with the low time execution, right? So one, do I have some sort of high time frame bias in my favor? Two, do I have some sort of lower time frame execution in my favor, right? So those are the two things I'm looking at. Area of interest on the high time frame, and then on the lower time frame, I'm looking to kind of couple the sort of Asia range model, and really use that as my low time frame execution in conjunction with my high time frame bias. Now you might be thinking, what does that look like? This sounds quite vague, and the thing is, it's actually really easy, especially if you can kind of understand this on a day-to-day basis and you can replicate the same thing, right? Now, in the alchemy, this is basically what I teach. I teach the PDX model, which obviously allows you to trade both long and short in the market. It gives you a fixed sort of statistic and fixed probability, which we have obviously built algorithms and systematic approaches around, which we basically which allows us to collect numerous amount of data and really understand the edge, right? And I'm obviously banging on about how I've executed this, but I want to show you that it's not just me that's executing this simple model. It's also the people that I mentor on a daily basis, and how I've showed them this really effective way of trading, in my opinion, that is obviously they are able to actually execute and implement themselves within sometimes a matter of days. I have a student join in, and all of a sudden, within a couple of hours, the guy is already kind of understand or understood exactly how this pricing model works, and he's already off to the races, backtesting his models, collecting data, finding everything that he needs about the model, and that is exactly what you want, right? That is a self-sufficient trader that we are trying to create in the community, and that's exactly what we're doing in the alchemy, right? And just to show you, here's a couple of other guys that are in the community that also executed the same position on Friday, and you can see some guys here also collected some good returns, right? So I think this is really interesting, and I think for you as maybe this is something that you are struggling to find consistency in the markets. I think for me personally, it helped me a lot in my trading ability and my journey, and it's also helped a lot of the guys that have joined my community, and I think that's exactly what you're ultimately looking for at the end of the day, right? Now, let's hop over into a live example, right? So if you have a look at this is euro dollar on the 4 hour. If I'm just going to quickly mark out my high time frame bias, so we were obviously a little bit bullish or quite bullish on the the last couple of days running into this area of interest over here. This is my supply zone that I'd marked out, shared this with the community members about what I was looking for. And if you have a look here now, we have really got a nice sort of buildup of liquidity on the inside over here. We've now come and swept these highs all internally, and we found ourselves trading into here. And what I try to do is, take this high time frame bias and I then jump down into the low time frame execution. Now, that is basically what I showed you just now. If you have a look over here, it's a three simple pattern, if you want to call it that, which I call the PDX model. And it really is taking into account a couple of things. So one, you're looking for some sort of accumulation just below some sort of high time frame bias or area of interest. You're looking for some sort of manipulation, for example, which will look something like that. And then you're looking for price to kind of distribute back to the downside, right? So if you have a look over here, this is on the M15. I'm just going to play this out slowly for you. So you can see here we take Asia high, we take we find ourselves mitigating this H4 area of interest over here, which is our supply zone. And now you can kind of start to see how we are forming that AMD sort of three-box pattern method, which is maybe commonly known in the market. But for example, that's not exactly what I'm applying here. I've tailored that a bit around some other key factors that take into account key buy-side liquidity areas, area of interest, and that's how I've got to the PDX model, right? So if you have a look over here, we take Asia high. Now what I'm looking for some sort of break in structure. So for me, this is going to be my valid low here. This is my protected low. This is going to be my protected high. You can even see how the fractal started to mark that out for me. I'm going to try zoom in a little bit better so you can also see that. And what I'm basically looking for now is I'm looking for price to snap below this low, trade back into this sort of area now, and then continue back to the downside, right? And 9 times out of 10, I'm looking for something around plus 2R. That really allows me to kind of, effectively basically play the probability game, right? So if you have a look now, you can see that that is my low. We've taken that high and we run into London Open, and you can see we have now broken through this demand area here, which is around 1.7065. Now for me, a simple way to do this is I would just set a limit entry on here. I will put my stop loss above this protected high over here. As I mentioned earlier, this was my fractal high, indicating this is my new protected high. And it's as simple as this. I am now looking to target 2R, which I will just use my my pricing tool to kind of work, well, my calculator to work that out for me. And if you have a look over here, I will let this play out for the rest of the day. Now, if you see quite closely, I mentioned three things, which was accumulation, manipulation, and distribution, right? So if you think about it logically, this was my accumulation area over here, okay? Price then manipulates into this high over here, and now I am looking for price to kind of distribute back to the downside, right? So this is going to be my distribution, and that is forming the simple AMD model, if you want to call it that. But I am specifically referring to my PDX model, which is basically taking into account these couple of key factors and key points, right? And if you have a look over here now, what we are anticipating is that price will kind of roll over. Yeah, sometimes it kind of jumps back into this area now, because this is technically my new area of interest on the M15, and we are now looking for price to distribute back to the downside, right? Which if you see over here, we eventually fall and roll over and eventually get our 2R by just before London close. New York close, right? So yeah, actually London close, and yeah, this was around New York open. So that's exactly how I trade on a day-to-day basis. It's as simple as that. And that is exactly what you kind of want to be looking for, a consistent approach that you can apply daily, day in and day out. And that is exactly what I teach in the Alchemy. So if you are interested, you can check my bio. You can find out more information about how to join our team. We're looking for some new members in the team, which I think is going to be awesome. We're growing the community. And yeah, it's really a great place for like-minded traders to get together, test different theories, test different additions to the edge, really making it as soundproof as possible. And that's exactly what we are aiming to do in the Alchemy. So if you want to learn more about the PDX model that I've just shown you here, you can check my bio. And yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks, guys. I'll check you in the next one.